Crypto products are unregulated and could be highly volatile. Please be aware of the risks before investing.
राज, बाबूजी के आशीर्वाद से हमने अपनी नई शुरुआत तो कर ली, पर अपना फ्यूचर प्लान कैसे करें?
बड़े बड़े शहरों में ऐसी छोटी छोटी बातें होती रहती हैं।
Looking for perfect start? Get a Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
जब मैं तेरी उम्र का था ना, तो एक सक्सेसफुल करियर, लॉन्ग टर्म प्लानिंग सब रेडी करके रख चुका था। और एक इन महाराज को देखो, पूरा दिन फोन में लगा रहेगा।
दैट प्लानिंग तो मैंने भी कर रखी है, Unocoin के साथ।
नए जमाने के साथ नई चीजें आजमाएं। Looking for Bitcoin? Download the Unocoin app.
Guys, we really need to work hard. This wasn't a good quarter. Tell me, are you happy with this?
Unocoin.
Want to earn Bitcoin? Just grab your phone and shake it. Download the Unocoin app.
Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin.
Get a systematic buying plan from the Unocoin app to get your Bitcoin today. Download the Unocoin app.
Hello and welcome back, dear Unocoiners, to another one of Unocoin's EMA और live Q&A session, जहां पर हम बात करते हैं बहुत सारे different topics के बारे में कि क्या चल रहा है market में। और अगर आज की ताज़ा खबर देखी जाए तो बहुत ही volatile चल रही है market. For this discussion, I'd like to introduce your favorite speaker for every session that we do, Mr. Sathvik Vishwanath, the CEO and the co-founder of Unocoin. Hi, Sathvik. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Shambi. How are you doing?
I'm great, and actually I'm a bit sleepless too. 3 a.m. in the morning, news flashes, ETF approved. Suddenly, no, the account was hacked. What's going on? So, I remember a very interesting post. Actually, I've been seeing a lot of posts since morning today about people talking about, how SEC posted about two-factor authentication, security measures, multi-signature, and then ended up having their own account compromised. So what do you think about whole of this? Do you think it might have been intentional, or was it a simple internal kind of mistake?
I mean, we cannot comment on why exactly it happened, but it's hilarious. See, one of the major reasons for SEC not to just go ahead and approve Bitcoin spot ETF is because that could lead to market manipulations.
Yes.
And now someone takes over the SEC's Twitter account, goes ahead and tweets. It's kind of, the tweet itself is doing that market manipulation now.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
them talking about, this is volatile, that is volatile. They hit the biggest volatility of time in such volatile market.
Hmm.
So,
And it is, yeah, I mean, it took just minutes for price to really go bonkers, right? So then again it was kind of reset. Yeah.
ओके सो यहाँ पे भारत भाग्य विधाता इज आस्किंग क्या हिंदी में इंटरव्यू हो सकता है? बिल्कुल भारत भाग्य विधाता, आपके जो भी सवाल है आप हमसे हिंदी में पूछिए एंड सात्विक भी पूरी कोशिश करेंगे हिंदी में उसका जवाब देने की. बाकी आई विल बी देयर टू ट्रांसलेट थिंग्स फॉर यू अगर आपको कुछ समझ में ना आए तो आपके जो भी सवाल है आप बिल्कुल हिंदी में पूछिए. सो सात्विक, सिंस द ऑडियंस इज डिमांडिंग हिंदी में, आई विल आस्क अनदर क्वेश्चन इन हिंदी, which is also related to India, by the way. Just this morning, we saw this news, this entire thing happening like at 3 a.m. and everybody got sleepless, things like that. Morning, we woke up to another interesting news that was the Indian government, not per se Indian government, but Apple removing all of these international exchanges from the App Store. So, this kind of move coming in, of course, I mean, it's not an immediate threat for the people already having the apps in their mobile phones, but for the people who are kind of trying to update it or something now, that's gone. So, what do you think about such immediate move? Like it was done without any notice?
See, I don't know whether it was a decision by Apple themselves or because they received a notice from the Ministry of IT or whoever, right? So just like about 10-12 days ago or so, the FIU, which is Finance Intelligence Unit, has come up with a notice saying, or I would say it as a show cause notice, which means they have asked some of the international exchanges to either become compliant with the Indian laws and regulations or don't provide the services to Indian customers. So, and their actual idea was to block the IP addresses and access to these international exchanges, whoever want to do any kind of transactions from India. Till now, I haven't really heard of any international exchanges who have come forward to actually becoming compliant in India yet. Okay, and it's, as you can see, it's a kind of huge burden by itself, because that would means lot of new things, especially when it comes to compliance, screening the names, to abiding the travel rule, to sanction lists, and identifying the pattern of transactions, and reporting. There is like so many of them, right? So, and then also the taxation laws, which is the TDS that has to be paid, and the reporting that has to be done. So, I mean, in India, we had to register with FIU, uh, so when we comply, right? But it won't be the same for international exchanges. Also, given that even though India is such a huge country, one of the main reasons that a lot of people were going to international exchanges and doing the trades there is because they believed that there is no 1% TDS when they do the transactions in international exchanges, which is not fully true. So now they would also compare. Okay, fine, India is a big country. There is a huge amount of large of population, etc. So, but if you see the volumes of, I mean, if they become compliant, which will be like after, when they agree to pay TDS and such, whatever, red TDS and pay, then they would obviously compare with the volume. So in India, when the TDS and new taxation rules triggered in, the volume went down by less than 90. I mean, like the overall volume was less than like 10% at one shot within a single month. So now they have to compare. Okay, so one is being compliant, losing volumes, and taking a huge compliance burden for a country like India, which does not have enough volumes after the implementation of the new taxation rules. So, business wise, I think they would not step forward. It's very unlikely. So, no, probably this is more like, okay, Apple or maybe Ministry of IT. So, they have restricted the new installations by blocking these apps from the App Store itself. And now I think if they become complaint in the future, it may just come back. Or if these companies write back to Apple saying that, okay, we want to, when our app is not visible in India, and probably they will get tasked for, are you complaint in India? If not, then you cannot do the business in India, crypto business in India. So that's what it will probably look like. So yeah, this is the first step. And people who already have apps in India as well, for some of them, though, they're getting I mean, they're not able to connect, I mean, like log into their apps and do kind of trades and such. So and also it is true that they need not panic, because generally this does not mean their crypto funds are lost or
Exactly.
anything. But still, this will be a huge bottleneck, and it is not like, okay, out of 100 people who would ever trade, 90 people already have registered. That is not true. We may probably have a few percentage of the total addressable market, right? So which means it's like maybe 95% is still out there, and they're not able to get the access to international exchanges, will actually make them to use Indian exchanges itself. So in a way, it is slightly good for businesses in India, but this was the only way. It will not work if not, right? So
True, and I think also, Satvik, I believe while these actions are being taken, and with the history of Indian government being so unpredictable, not Indian government per se, but kind of action on such activities have been so unpredictable. I still feel, not a financial advice, guys, that people should start looking for more safe haven like Unocoin, and kind of already maybe like store their money in a hard wallet or something, withdraw their crypto to hard wallets or an exchange like Unocoin, with which they can seamlessly withdraw their crypto and also trade efficiently. So we are having a few comments here. भारत भाग्य विधाता इज सेइंग, सर हमको इंटरनेशनल एक्सचेंजेस पर जाने का कोई शौक नहीं है, बट इंडियन एक्सचेंज में बाई सेल रेट बहुत डिफरेंस होता है. मैंने ऊनो कॉइन एक्सचेंज यूज किया है, पूरी तरीके से ट्रस्टेबल है. थैंक यू सो मच भारत भाग्य विधाता टू से दैट, बट यस आई थिंक सात्विक विल explain you probably why are there these buy sell rate differences on Indian exchanges.
see, it used to be a little bit better before, and now, because including the TDS, the price at which people want to sell actually goes up by 0.5% or 1% or 1.5%, because a part of their money is getting locked for the foreseeable future, right? So, but on the other side, the people who want to buy will try to buy it at the normal whatever market rate available. So, which makes there is a difference between buy and sell to be like quite wide. But yeah, there is like no easy way of how to handle this. The frequent traders, let's say if I am a frequent trader, and for every trade I do, if I am losing 1% as TDS, which I can only claim after a year or year and a half, so my selling price would obviously be a little bit higher, so that I don't lose my corps, right? So this issue is known, and this is actually very same as why this will cause liquidity problems in India for crypto, right? So and the fair market price won't get established, etc. So as of the time being, I would say, um, unless you are a very frequent trader and such, just ignore that 0.5%, 1% difference. Whatever happens, generally that is a kind of difference we see in couple of hours or couple of days itself, when it comes to crypto transactions at most. If you want to get into crypto, ignore that. Take the leap of faith and do whatever trade you want to do. And if there is, when you are selling as well, so 1% of that money will actually be deposited to your PAN card itself, so which you'll be able to claim when you do your rest of your income tax filing. So when not enough liquidity, that kind of issue already exists in India. For example, USDT, I think it trades at around 88 or 89 rupees if you want to buy it, and maybe 87 or 88 if you want to sell it. So even for you selling it, the price of it is higher than the international market price of what is USD already. So, but yeah, this is where we are in India. So there is, I mean, I cannot see any shortcuts of how to make the prices in India in align with the prices internationally. So I don't think that's happening in short term. So what it is in India is what it is.
That is there. And I think with the current rules and regulations, whatever we have is a good thing. Moving forward, we can hope for more, and we can, kind of put forth things for more. But again, in this current scenario, it's pretty difficult for any Indian exchange. It's like very problematic as such. But then again, we are here to serve you no matter what. We have been here for the past 10 years. So Malika Arjun has a very interesting comment here, Sathvik. Bitcoin ETF approved. Oh no, SEC got hacked. Now, who do we trust for so called securities? Makes sense, Malika Arjun. But then what do we say?
No, it's just an unfortunate event. See, so like I said, that alone was manipulating the prices, and the biggest worry of ETF, spot ETF approval, was market manipulation. Um,
The
it's
irony here.
funny, and yeah, that's it.
It's actually very funny, because I was reading another tweet from another industry expert this morning, and his tweet said, "This is done like I'm not sleeping in 2024 now because there's so much happening to waste time on sleeping." And I was like, literally, I've exhausted like so much of coffee in just 1 week span because it was like 3 a.m. in the morning and things are happening. And I think for the next couple of days, it's gotta be like that. Today's 10th. It'll be around I think 9:30 in the US right now. Everything is in place for the proceedings, and I think in a few hours we'll get news for approval or rejection or delay or anything like that. And it's gonna be very sleepless even tonight for industry at large, no matter what country are you situated in.
Yeah,
So
it's 24 hours thing, right? So if you want to still sleep while being in the crypto industry, you should make it as a point that not to worry too much about the market, and don't affect your
do
lifestyle
SVP then, yeah. My favorite tool, by the way. Just do SVP and chill.
enough.
Okay. Another comment here we have from Ganesh Hiramat. He's saying, "Hi Satvik sir, I heard that India's digital e-rupee is crypto coin developed by Ripple's X current product and will be soon available on crypto exchanges in India, same as USDT, USDC. Any info on that?"
No, I don't think so. So the E-rupee that already, I mean, they're still like kind of sandbox stage. I think only few people have access to it. Through limited number of banks. I think 4 or 8 banks have participated in it. And that to those banks have provided this access to a very limited customers. So, but I don't think this is anything to do with crypto coin, or it is not any kind of stable coin. So this will not be available on blockchain, which can be transferred from anywhere to anywhere in the world. I don't think so. So it will continue to stay within India itself, from my understanding so far. We will have to see. I mean, we don't know the full rules of like what is allowed and what is not allowed. But luckily, I think there will be some countries to which I mean, India want to open that up, especially the ones where there are significant number of expats, and that too only to those specific people. Say some for some X number of people in UAE and Singapore and such. So we'll have to wait and watch. I mean, what eventually will be the rules of like what is possible, what is not possible. But from my understanding, E-rupee has nothing to do with anything with Ripple, and there's nothing to do with crypto and nothing to do with stablecoin yet.
Hmm.
And availability of it in crypto exchanges, it maybe we will the crypto exchanges will start accepting like INR deposits at some point of time if it looks good and there is no complaints issues and such. But we'll have to see. But that being available as a crypto coin is unlikely. But that being available as an Indian rupee balance, like with which people can fund using fund their INR using their wallet, so that may be a possibility.
Makes sense, yes. Okay. Another comment here we have is from Enjoy Digital Life. He's asking, sir, Uno Coin exchange में listing करने का क्या process है? So as I can see, our team has given you a link to our website where you can find new coin listing proposal in the footer and kind of, go through the procedure following that. Okay. Another question slash comment here is from Rahul Sharma, who's saying enable Bitcoin withdrawal over Lightning. So I think that's already in process, right, Sathvik? Or do we have it live?
Live with it. I don't know if the withdrawal is live or not. So deposits is live, from what I know, and maybe in mobile apps it's not visible yet. Maybe the next upcoming update probably will become it. So yeah, so we were in full support of that Lightning, as a method of Lightning Network as a method to do the transfers, because that's extremely fast in nature and it costs way too less, as compared to the normal Bitcoin transactions. So that will enable more instant deposits and it will help users to do the required trading and such. But Lightning, yes, people do get excited, but the number of people who are capable of handling those wallets and conversions, just in case if they need from normal Bitcoin to Lightning Network or Lightning Network to normal Bitcoin network. So it's not extremely simple yet. So it is slowly becoming more and more popular. And as more and more exchanges also gets integrated with Bitcoin Lightning, I think over a period of time that will become like an easy thing for people.
Yes, 100%. And Lightning is just like a bridge over the actual network. So those who don't have the context, when there's a little bit of extra traffic, usually the price of Bitcoin transaction goes high. But this Lightning network acts as a bridge, like say a flyover in terms of a real road. If there's traffic on the main road and there's a flyover, it kind of diverts the traffic. So that eases up the whole process of processing the transactions over there. So this is what Lightning is, and Unocoin has released it recently. So you should definitely go and check it out. Okay. Now moving forward, Malika Arjun also is saying something. He's saying Unocoin has never stopped withdrawals, but withdrawals take 7 to 15 days. Any specific reason for this?
See, there is no absolute specific reason. Even though we mentioned about 7 to 15 days, it's usually the next day itself, unless we see that okay, this should be held for whatever reasons. So one thing that has happened in the very recent past is when people, whenever they do the withdrawals, they are doing it to a bank account which is already compromised, and it is handled or managed by someone else than the actual bank account holder itself. In those cases, we have faced some kind of issues where okay, they'll go for so once that money has gone to them, and then the actual customer who is the holder of Unocoin claims that they never did the transaction or they never did the withdrawals and such. So when those incidents have happened, it also have happened when it comes to crypto withdrawals. So where people have sent money from some ex bank account to us, and we have done all the required verifications, so all of that going good. But however, when I mean, after the crypto is withdrawn, and then we'll figure out that the money that they collected by using some kind of scam or MLM based schemes, that they were finally able to convert it to crypto and exit the system. So to avoid this, we have some processes in place. So generally, for very frequent trading users and such, it should not be a problem at all, because I mean, those trades will get in. I mean, those either withdrawals should happen in a matter of hours or maybe in a day or so. But for some new withdrawals, especially for newer accounts who are trying to withdraw a huge lump sum amount of money, sometimes it will take a little bit extra. So we always provide the worst case scenario as a message. It usually will be better than that.
Hmm. Okay. So I think Mallikarjun, that answers your question. Now we have Randhir Singh who's asking, सर मेरा अकाउंट डिसेबल हो गया बिट्रेक्स ग्लोबल में अब विड्रॉवल नहीं हो रहा है प्लीज हेल्प सो आई थिंक there's no way I think we can help you out with this, Randhir, but what you can do is contact their customer support, drop some emails, and I think that should be helpful. Otherwise, I don't think anything related to another entity is in either of our hands.
Yeah. So generally, their support should be able to help. But if
Yes.
it is disabled, they should tell a reason, no, why it is disabled. It's not like your account is disabled, but no reason, no way to contact. I don't think so. Bittrex is comparatively a very well-known exchange. So,
Exactly.
and especially if someone is trying to contact their support through Telegram group, be extremely careful. There are people who just claim to be that, okay, I am from Bittrex support, let me help you, and over a period of time they'll say, okay, this is because this account, I mean, this particular deposit disabled for our wallet disabled for this reason, and you should be funding this wallet with some crypto, and I mean, those kinds of scams could occur. So be extremely careful, or communicate as much as possible over email itself. It's better.
Email, or even email, Sathvik, email, that can be duped. Go to their website, look at the official customer care number, and then make a call and try and get in touch with them. That is the best approach, my understanding. Uh, okay, now moving forward, Rahul Sharma is having another question. Is Unocoin supporting only Equitas Bank for depositing INR? Please clarity on this. Can INR be deposited with other bank or just Equitas Bank? So I think what we are supporting is not Equitas Bank. Our bank account in Equitas is the one that you can utilize. So once you go to deposit money INR, there will be two options, which will be, one will be virtual bank deposit, one will be through casual RTGS and stuff. Again, in both you'll have RTGS option. You have to go to your mobile banking app, enter that number, add us as a beneficiary, transfer to it, and then add the reference number in the panel over there. That's how the process works. So it has nothing to do with your bank account being in any other bank or something. So this is how this works. I think this clears it up for you, Rahul. Otherwise our customer support will help you to understand this.
So in simple words, irrespective of the bank with which our customers are having their bank account, they should be able to send money to our Equitas bank account, or our IDFC bank account for virtual deposits, and we should be able to recognize. So that should not be an issue at all. So if people have any kind of issue with their online banking and such, so they can walk into to their own bank branch or any other bank branch of the same bank with a check leaf, and they can do the required RTGS transfer as well. So I mean, with which bank we bank with should be of less concern for our users.
Yes, exactly. So I think that again answers your question, Rahul. If you have, if you want to understand this further with more clarity, or maybe do it side to side while trying to, deposit funds, just get in touch with our customer support. They'll guide you through the entire process. Here we have Vijit Mukherjee asking another question. What is it? Yeah. So he's asking, when will the LN deposit withdraw SATs be enabled?
I think the Lightning Network. So right now deposits are enabled. I think withdrawal probably will enable it in next couple of weeks, 1 or 2 weeks.
Yes.
So we want our users to eventually become familiar as well. So yeah, it is just a learning curve for them. But this is like great thing. I mean, if you're asking this question, that already means like there are good number of-
Getting lightning on board is, yeah, it's a good effort. In
So, but if it was 2 years ago, I mean, Lightning Network has existed since many years, like at least more than a few years. Even a 1 year ago, there hardly were people who actually knew about Lightning Deposit, but it has significantly improved in the last 1 year. So it'll only go ahead. So yeah, I mean, eventually it'll be enabled for sure. Yeah, in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Abhijit is saying, great, thank you. So I think he got the answer while you previously answered that question. Devendra Shikhawat here is asking, what about BTC ETF? I think he wants to understand about that. So I think that is our topic for today as well, Satvik. Let's take a deeper dive into what it is, starting with the very basics. So, today is the hype of ETF, but we want to discuss more basics. So, what is a Bitcoin ETF? What kind of opportunities is it bringing on board, and how is that going to work?
Okay, so Bitcoin ETF is like a permission and maybe even a ticker. Um, I mean, that can be applied for with any kind of security regulator, like shares regulator, equity regulator in a country. But now, generally, when we talk about ETF, we are talking about US. There are already Bitcoin ETFs, but not for spot, but for
For
futures of,
futures,
of,
yes.
of Bitcoin already in US that is already getting traded. So what is this ETF making possible, which was not possible without ETF, is the Bitcoin spot ETF I'm talking about. Is that, see, there are already a lot of institutions who have significant interest in taking an exposure to Bitcoin, but just because the way presently Bitcoin and its exchanges works, many institutions are not very comfortable with it, and it's like an huge one more like friction for them, and if they want to withdraw and hold it, the custodying it, all of that will become little bit of like hurdle. So but when it comes to Bitcoin ETF, let's say when it is approved, then uh, it will become like a, people can buy the Bitcoin ETF to their normal demat account or equity account. So what does it mean is, let's say I am a institution or a company or an individual in US, and if there is Bitcoin spot ETF, then along with, say, if I'm buying some Apple shares and say Tesla shares or Microsoft shares or any other like hundreds of thousands of shares that already exist there, hundreds of thousands, this will also become one of the kind of thing that you can just buy. Okay, so you won't be able to withdraw that, but there will be a company which is taking the responsibility of holding the required actual Bitcoin, and it's like completely regulated and regulated by SEC again when they do the approval. And then that allows me to take the exposure to Bitcoin without actually undergoing registration through the normal exchanges in
Yes.
crypto exchanges in US. So that gives me kind of a comfort level and ease at which I should be able to do. So now it's like, okay, if this happens, then why is it so much talked about, right? So it's a kind of question. It's because there is a new money that will get into this kind of ecosystem, that will get to the crypto industry. So because of this particular new money that is getting in, because it's providing exposure to people who did not want exposure through crypto exchanges, but now they have exposure through their normal liquidity trading accounts. There are more people and there is more money that's coming in to push the prices up by creating the required demand, which did not exist just before that. Is the kind of theory which I also believe, yeah, it should happen that way, because this cannot harm people in any way, as long as this kind of market manipulation and such issues won't happen. So that has been one of the reasons, like market manipulation and such. But as we continue to go forward, and we have actually seen the volatility decrease over a period of time. So what it used to be 5 years ago, 8 years ago, and 1 year ago, so it's quite less as of now. I mean, per day, or maybe if you see the average of what it is per day and multiply it with, or maybe just extend it over a period of a month. So that is kind of slowly becoming acceptable and acceptable. So which now comes to the fact that it is no more like if the ETF gets approved, it's just about when the ETF will eventually get approved. So yeah, everyone have eyes for it, and are looking forward that one or the other it will get approved and expand the customer base who want to hold Bitcoin ETF. Yeah, Bitcoin.
Yes, absolutely. And Satvik, from a maximalist view, I know you're not a maximalist, and even if you are, I wouldn't say that. But then again, from that perspective, because you meet a lot of people who are maximalists themselves. From that perspective, I've been seeing a lot of tweets going around saying, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Even if you hold Bitcoin through an ETF, that won't be real and that won't really be as beneficial as holding a real Bitcoin. So, what is your perspective on that?
See, the ETF is more fine, because it will happen through a absolute and strict regulation that is applied on a particular company who is applying for this, and they are required to do the custody of Bitcoin and make those Bitcoin tradable on stock markets, and such. It's so it's not like, okay, there is some exchange, and at their wills and fancies they just use the Bitcoin that is held by them, and then if there is not enough Bitcoin or crypto to back their total users account holdings, then they could get shut or anything like that, right? So there are these kinds of ETFs are already available for commodities like gold. Okay, so does that mean if a company which has taken in gold ETF now can run away with the gold? I mean, physically, yes, but because of the regulation that already exists, and these companies, they'll be more inclined towards the reputation that they would lose by doing anything silly like that, right? So, and if you also see, it's not like very small, normal, minuscule companies applying for Bitcoin ETF. Those are comparatively a big name,
Managers, yeah, and like
very,
yeah.
very big name. So they have much more to lose by screwing up anything with Bitcoin ETF, than just taking those Bitcoin and running away and such.
Well, you never know, Sathvik. I mean, that's what I was discussing with another friend last night when all of this was happening. You never know. Maybe the price of Bitcoin can go beyond the net worth of these asset companies, and you never know. They just might turn their backs on
No,
you.
I mean, even in that case, as well, it is still good for them to continue doing business, right?
Yes.
Because they have a percentage of profits and they have some asset management fees, like per year they collect, so per month they collect some money. So all of that combined, it's like good for them only. And one company doing it will again like kind of, okay, this is what we thought should not happen and it happened. So it goes into that like boring stage of where things will get like little dominoes effect and things will get affected, and again it has to come out of it, right? So I think more or less whatever the effect we saw because of FTX collapse and its related issues, it's kind of, I think, is we've left that and gone forward, I believe. So it almost took like a year at least um, for those trades to be washed away, and now I don't really see too many people talking about FTX, at least after a year. um, so yeah, I mean, it's how I mean, to what extent the price of Bitcoin goes is all different. But if you see, that could be true to some extent, that even though today if a big asset managers expose up to 1 or 2% of their clients' asset to Bitcoin, and there is a possibility that that 1 or 2% could become 10 or 20%, right? So because of the price increase and such over a period of time. But if it is happening, it's good only. I would definitely, I would not complain. We obviously need much more market cap for volatility to come down and people to eventually have much more trust. So now, well, like how they say, it's too big to fail, kind of thing, right? So it's already kind of have seen a lot of success when it comes to regulatory clarity, not only in India but across worldwide, and what is the particular use case that it is trying to solve, and the technology with which it is used, which is I mean, virtually unhackable, and without having the middleman, how could some kind of transactions happen? So those are all like a lot of questions and concerns that people had, and a lot of that is already answered. So there's not I mean, much more which is kind of unknown when it comes to Bitcoin or many other similar coins. So now comes, okay, I mean, if it is that good, then it should be exposed to much more people, and that will be possible through ETF, right? So, and when that happens, it'll obviously become valuable, is what I think. Yeah.
Absolutely. It will be indeed valuable to the ones who don't know about Bitcoin. But yes, it is definitely opening a very wide market range for all of us. And this will definitely result in a demand pull in, supply stretch, all of that happening at the same time. And it will be magnificent to witness what's going on. So, Satvik, we have also seen in the past there have been several suits in the SEC against the SEC that was related to GBDC, that was related to the rejection of multiple ETFs coming in. So, what was the reason that these ETFs were rejected initially?
Yeah, I think it's just to say that there is no full regulatory clarity. See, it's not like India. If a regulator says there is no regulatory clarity, then people will say, okay, you're the regulator, give the clarity, right? So it doesn't work like that in India yet. It's a little more complicated here. Okay. So you cannot take forever, say that okay, we are learning it, okay, we are watching it, we're taking one small step at a time. So it doesn't work that way, right? So everyone is like, I mean, much more straightforward, and they know what they can do, what they cannot do. The gray area is much less when it comes to developer countries, and here a lot of things are gray. And I'm not only talking about crypto, but a lot of other things as well. Here people want to take advantage if there is gray. But people on one side and regulators on the other side, right? So both want to take advantage of it. But usually it will be much more black and white when we actually see in a lot of developed countries regulator, I mean, law, or it could be the regulatory whatever policies that they are making, and such. So yeah, so because of that, I would say it will, or it could take some time, but it cannot be like forever, right? So what is happening today is still like one more step. So it cannot go back, right? So it's
Yeah.
only going forward, and we just don't know how many more steps are there. But every successful step taken is a step taken, right? So and every time they are rejecting, they have to give the proper reasoning of why they are rejecting, and then these people or the companies which are applying for ETF have a huge set of lawyers and auditors and these people, I mean, the professional people in place, which will file the amendment saying that, okay, if this is your concern and this is how I want to operate. So I mean, the reasons would eventually get exhausted for SEC as well, why they want to continue pushing this forward. And if it was more like, okay, it can be rejected, then it is rejected, and just say that, okay, for next 5 years, I'm not approving any kind of it. So that they cannot do, right? So because because it's a valid ask by the companies. And I don't think SEC want to do that as well. So they will continue to see whatever they want to see, I mean, however long they want to see, and making sure that all the required explanations and amendments, whatever they're filing, is acceptable. And then eventually it will no more be when, I mean, it will no more be if it gets approved. It's just about, okay, if not now, then just know that we are closer to it. I mean, every step is closer to it because it is getting addressed. And at this time, I think like 9 or 10 such companies which have applied for ETF, every one of them have filed the amendments for whatever questions were asked.
There were correction
So,
news
which
coming up.
means people are not giving up. Companies are not giving up. Not even one company is giving up. Forget about every company giving up, so that
There are
it's
more
easy. Okay,
companies.
fine. No one is filing amendments. TK, I'll just take some rest. It's not like that.
Yes, and indeed, we saw in the past 6 months there have been more and more companies coming up and filing these ETFs. I think Valkyrie was the last one, or somebody else as well filed after Valkyrie. So it was just constantly happening one after the other. So we see, the competition as well is just so intense. I see them reducing their fees also. I think it was 0.039 for BlackRock, then they reduced it to 0.030, then it has come down to 0.025. So you see, they're just trying to grab the market share in any which way possible. Now, we have a couple of questions here, Satvik. From Bharat Bhagyavatata again, he's asking, Unocoin क्या future में कोई नया project launch करेगा like blockchain token या wallet? Please, ma'am, reply हिंदी में कर देना. So if you can, Satvik, handle it in Hindi.
अभी वक्त वो टोकन लॉन्च करने के लिए या ब्लॉकचेन लॉन्च करने का आइडिया नहीं है, बट नो, हम नहीं बोल सकता है, हो सकता है, बट अभी वक्त जैसा प्लान्स नहीं है हमारे पास.
ऑल्सो अगर भारत भाग्य बताता आपको मैं थोड़ा सा एक नैरेटिव दूं कि क्यों अभी हमारा एक कॉइन का या ऐसी किसी चीज का टोकन का प्लान नहीं है। उसका रीजन ये है कि ये जब कंपनी स्टार्ट हुई थी, इसका आइडिया था टू ब्रिंग बिटकॉइंस टू बिलियंस। ठीक है, तो अगर हम उस नैरेटिव को फॉलो कर रहे हैं, अगर हम उस ओजी स्टोरी को फॉलो कर रहे हैं, तो जो कॉइन हम क्रिएट करेंगे उसकी यूटिलिटी एज कंपेयर टू बिटकॉइन शायद उतनी ना हो। और हम जो क्रिएट करना चाह रहे हैं वो हम क्रिएट करना चाह रहे हैं फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम, रादर दैन कुछ भी एक टोकन क्रिएट कर दिया एंड उससे कुछ फंड्स क्रिएट कर दिए। वो हमें नहीं करना है, हमें करना है फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम का प्रोपोगेशन आपके लिए। सो दिस इज द ओरिजिनल नैरेटिव दैट आवर फाउंडर्स स्टिक टू। एंड द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन which I am, by the way, भारत भाग्य बताता है सेइंग मैं 2017 से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ उनो कॉइन के साथ। सो भारत भाग्य बताता, तब तो आपको पता होगा कि हमारे फाउंडर्स का माइंडसेट कितना स्ट्रिंजेंट है ऑन बिटकॉइन एंड अपकमिंग टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड एसेट्स। ऑफ कोर्स वी आर इन एक्सचेंज, वी ऑफर मल्टीपल एसेट्स एंड we believe on every one of their utilities. But again, Bitcoin is the, what do we call, what they call it, crypto daddy. I recently heard this interesting term. People call Bitcoin crypto daddy. I was like, okay. But again, without the existence of Bitcoin, none of these ecosystem, nothing of Web3, nothing of blockchain would have existed today. So
Then does it make Ethereum or Ether crypto mummy? And
So,
given that it has given birth to a lot of new tokens. Funny.
or it could be the first son of, crypto daddy, Ethereum.
Mhm.
Okay. Now we have Abhijit Mukherjee asking, is this a fact that ETF will drive price of BTC high enough and out of reach from the mass? You
Well,
think so?
I see ETF approval creating new demand and new people getting in and new money coming in. So that's all acceptable. But that will not be to such an extent instantly where the price will go like 10x or anything like that. So I am anticipating maybe a few percentage or maybe 5%. So that is more realistic to me on day one. And as more and more people now, I mean, like let's say the moment it's approved, I don't think instantly there will be hundreds of institutions who want to pour in a lot of money. That's not true as well. Now that it is approved, it will go to their board meetings and see whether they should do it or not, to what extent they should do it. And after all of that is discussed, maybe they'll come in a month and invest into Bitcoin ETF and such. But now the fact that these new set of institutions can invest in Bitcoin within their already present compliance framework, the fact that they can is a huge advantage, like positive point, and which will usually get factored into the price much more sooner, even before they actually come in. So I am not anticipating extremely huge price movements. And if you want to buy now or maybe after the ETF approval, it will not be, maybe it's like 5, 10, 20% different or anything like that. But will it go it will go out of reach for common man? I would already say one full Bitcoin is already out
Oh,
of reach.
yes.
Even if you say zero point 0.1 Bitcoin, also for many people it's out of reach. So now it depends
All
upon
of those.
so it now depends upon how much Bitcoin you want to buy. So but there is no bad time to buy Bitcoin. I mean, if you really want to buy it and you know what you're trying to do. So based on that you should take decisions. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think what you can do is, see, I keep telling use SBP, live tension free life, just have normal rupee cost averaging happening. But I am myself so tensed about this entire thing happening. I think I haven't slept in like 3 days. I've been just discussing this with different people in the US, people in different countries. There's been just community calls, and I've been so over it, all over it, that it's just there. But then again, with SBP, I still have some sort of peace of mind, thinking ki, chalo, this is what I've done in the past year, this is already what I have. What I have to worry about is what do I do to accumulate more. And again, I'm not giving any financial advice. अपने खर्चे देख करके आप बिटकॉइन में इन्वेस्ट करिए, दैट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. I don't have much kharche, so I'm saving and I'm trying to invest in Bitcoin. So that is there. Okay. And here we have another. I think that was a follow up by Abhijit Mukherjee saying, will the mass be getting deprived of orange pill, which you've already answered. Then there is Sudhakar Saho saying, best wishes to both of you. Every session are useful. Thank you so much, Sudhakar. What about the future of Bitcoin, ICP, Solana at the end of this year? Prediction.
See, when it comes to Bitcoin, I think ETF is one of the big factors that will kind of determine to what extent the price movements would have happened, and also the Bitcoin halving, right? So, which is like a definitely shoe shot event. I think we are like what 13, 14 weeks away for it. It's not very far away. It's shoe shot. It will happen to which will kind of reduce the new supply of Bitcoin into the ecosystem. But when it comes to ICP and Solana, Solana is kind of competing with Ether, I mean Ethereum network. So it's too tough to tell anything about it. Definitely, we don't give financial advice and such. But if you have to diversify your portfolio, if it was me, I would not have invested more than say 5% or 10% of my crypto portfolio. I would not have allocated for Solana or ICP or anything like that. I would have taken comparatively maybe half of it or maybe 40% of it to be Bitcoin, and then maybe next 25 or 30% of it that should be divided between the Ethereum and its likes. So which maybe a part of it Ether and part of it Solana and maybe part of it Cardano and anything like that. And then comes whatever are claiming to be the competitors for Bitcoin, because it will come with it, whatever they're trying to do is what they're trying to do, including layer two like Matic and such, and maybe a very small part of it, maybe meme coins or maybe ICOs or whatever I believe could be kind of impactful for the rest of the portfolio if it is successful. So this kind of portfolio would usually not make you lose money in the long run. So at most, let's say whatever you invest today, there is a good possibility that it is negative or lot negative in the very near future, in a year, in 2 years or so. But if you hold it for long term, if the entire crypto market will come back and thrive, so your portfolio is definitely going to come back, the total valuation. But if you just invest on different ICOs and such, there is a good possibility that even if there is a dip and if the market comes back, those ICO may not even be heard of, right? So those tokens may not even be there, and it might have lost value, and those companies might have even shut down, etc. So if you want to have a healthy portfolio where you continue to have hopes that you will not lose all of the money at once, have maybe 40-50% of it as Bitcoin, and then, like I said, dedicate it for other different sectors, and then just make sure that even if you lose all of the money, you should still be fine, but don't lose. Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's very important to do your own research, kind of try and attend all of these AMEs that are happening with experts. At Unocoin, we are doing that. At Unocoin, we have a lot of videos as well. Guys, go and watch all of those videos because I've put in a lot of efforts in, kind of creating that content to help you guys through the process of understanding and doing your own research. So if you kind of try and search on that, you'll understand about a lot of information that we are trying to kind of give you. Okay, now we have Avijit Mukherjee saying, I'm a SAT holder, sir. Yes, SBP is the best for us SAT holders. Agreed. Thank you, both of you. Thanks to you for joining. And he says, got inspiration and courage from Unocoin to journey as a SAT holder. So, I mean, recently, Sathvik, I was having this call with somebody, and they were telling me he's a very learned person in terms of Bitcoin. He's been a Bitcoin holder for a long time. And he was telling me that, it's a time coming that we are not going to see Bitcoin as Bitcoin, but as sats. Like, earlier we used to see gold in tola, kgs, measurements like that. Now we see the price of gold in grams.
Yeah.
That is something is happening to Bitcoin as well. And trust me, if you're kind of accumulating sats, you never know. I mean, I am so bullish on this whole system. If you're holding even good number of sats, you could be holding a good amount of asset with you.
Yeah, so there was time when I was saying that, and when people used to say, can we send even X number of paisas worth of crypto etc. Then we can say, yeah, I mean, like maybe 1,000 satoshis is like a couple of paisa and such. And recently, after the price surge and all, I was doing calculation. I mean, one satoshi is actually a few paisas already. So it's no more like if you actually want to send one paisa, you cannot, because one satoshi, which is a minimum,
That is
uh,
more than a paisa.
yeah, more than so that there used to be paisa. Even if you want to send one paisa, you can send, and now I cannot tell that anymore.
See, I mean, this is the potential of Bitcoin, and moving forward, the potential of SaaS. That will be the most preferred term, I think, after the coming bull run. So, Bharat Bhagya Vedata is saying, sir, आपकी city में गर्मी है क्या? So, Bharat Bhagya Vedata, the place where Sathvik is situated, is actually a place जहाँ पूरे साल मौसम एक ही जैसा रहता है. थोड़ा बहुत ऊपर नीचे होता है, and people don't really need, rather you need sweatshirts over there in summers. That is the kind of atmosphere we have in Bangalore. So I mean, गर्मी तो नहीं, but ठंडी भी नहीं होगी. Okay. So here भारत भाग्य विधाता is also saying next 1 year में सरकार की तरफ से पूरी तरीके से क्रिप्टो के बारे में क्लियर हो जाएगा, बहुत क्लाइंट मिलेंगे एक्सचेंज को. अरे बस आपके मुंह में घी शक्कर, clarification is what all of us need from the Indian government. Once we get that, for sure, I mean, with we are always there to serve our customers and clients. So, Satvik, we are reaching the end of our session in like 4 minutes. So, I mean, we already talked about today the immediate and the long-term impact of ETFs and anything like that. But with the supply and demand stretch happening for the first time in the history, so far before the like around the halving, it's been just the supply cut. Now it's both demand and supply happening. So, how crazy do you think the atmosphere will be?
So I think this ETF, if it gets approved this time, or maybe the next meeting or next session, whenever, it's kind of quite interesting where the demand is coming in, right? So definitely there are people who did not have access for whatever reasons, and now they have access to using this kind of ETF based spot Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin spot ETF. But on the other side, it is pretty much the same time where the supply is also getting down, like new supply is going down. So it's kind of have a compounded effect. So it may, I mean, this year is kind of very, I am very bullish about it, right?
Very
So
sleepless.
even though I am more bullish for next year, but all of that may happen this year itself, if it happens. So it's very interesting time. I mean, 2023 we kind of knew, okay, nothing too big is happening, but still it was very bullish. Usually, like 21 was bullish. When 21 was bullish, 22 will definitely be bearish. And 23 was supposed to be comparatively like a
A
stable. It
little.
actually turned out to be bullish already.
Yeah.
So that kinds of hints us that maybe the bull market is more closer than we think. Right. So we are still in the month of January, and I mean, people are quite bullish about like how the entire crypto will turn in. And new, I mean, this also attracts new set of people, right? So and the new set of investors, so institutions, hedge funds, corporates. So that again will create positive impact, I think. And when that happens, the regulators will also step in, kind of create the required regulations and give clarity wherever it is not there. See, those people will not do that in bear markets. It's like no one cares. Not too much new people are coming in. Whoever have taken the risk of regulations, they have taken it already and such. So I think now it will be like kind of very interesting time for them to also to step in. It's because when it came, if you remember the TDS, our TDS and income, all of that happened. Um,
Saddest times.
yeah, I mean, the bullish time Hitler was not bearish times,
Yes.
including regulations on advertisements, so what to tell, what not to tell, what kind of warnings to give to people, and all such, right? So now we had to go through in between. Obviously, there is a like bearish market, but it looks like maybe the bullish one is much more closer. So this could be a very very interesting year. And like you say, a lot of sleepless nights for
I
crypto
actually saw
enthusiasts.
you yawn couple of times today in the session. I'm assuming that is because of that only, because I mean I can totally relate to it. And another thing, Sathvik, which I think if I say will extend the session for a little longer, but then again, with all of this going on, with government trying to do, regulatory things, it's all good. But when it comes to taxation, I seriously believe that is no way to kind of regulate an industry. And if they really want to regulate it, they want people to take right and informed decision, they should invest some money into educating people rather than trying to curb what is already happening. Because with every other initiative, there has been beti bachao beti padhao, there's been for investment related initiatives as well, there have been disclaimers and there have been advertisement from the government side as well for awareness. I mean, this is such a wrong approach to just put taxes and restrict who are actually doing something out of it. So, I mean,
I mean, India usually takes that kind of approach where it will be strict in the beginning, so people, I mean, bad people cannot significantly take advantage of the situation, but it will eventually become fine. But the time gap between the taxation or whatever policy is coming in and that correction could be number of years, and that number of years is extremely long time for a crypto industry. So because of the speed at which it moves, it's kind of so disruptive, and the speed at which moves is kind of makes it sense. But let's see, and I'm also hopeful to see like what it will be when it comes to the next budget speech in a couple of
yes,
weeks.
yes, I am so not exactly excited, but I'm just awaiting to see what they have to say about the new regime. I don't know if they have anything on crypto, but let's see. What do you think about? So, Crypto Monker, I think we'll take this question of yours in the next session. We are already past like by 4 minutes on our actual timeline. So we would definitely love to get in touch with you for this question in our next session. Till then, stay tuned. Follow us on all of our social medias for quick and nice updates on Bitcoin and the rest of the market and our AMAs and talks. We'll see you again. And till then, wait for the ETF, anticipate, be active on Twitter, see what's happening, just mess around your head. That's what we are going to do. So, okay, Satvik, thank you so much for joining in. Thank you so much, everyone else, for joining in. We'll see you again next week. Till then, bye bye. Good night.
Thank you. Thanks for the session.